Hi, I'm Celina with the Foundation for Inner Peace, and welcome to Conversations on Course, a fireside chat style event that creates space for dialogue, listening, and shared reflection around the teachings of A Course in Miracles. Today, I'm deeply grateful to be joined by Jackie Lora Jones, a longtime student, teacher, and author whose work brings clarity, warmth, and practicality to the Course's uncompromising message. Jackie has a gift for meeting the Course where it actually lives, in the mind and in how it moves through our lives, without denial, performance, or spiritual efforting. In this conversation, we explore how the ego's convincing stories begin to loosen their grip, and we rediscover what A Course in Miracles has been pointing to all along, that nothing real can be threatened, and that peace is not earned, but remembered. So, let's begin and see how forgiveness meets us exactly where we are. Jackie Lora Jones, hello and welcome. It's such a joy to have you here with us at the Foundation for Inner Peace and welcome you to Conversations on Course. How are you?
I'm so good. I just adore you, Celina. Thank you so
Oh my
much for
God.
having me. And I just love the Foundation for Inner Peace. Hello to Tam and Laura and everybody there. So
Oh,
thanks for having me. You guys are doing
thank
great
you.
stuff. Great stuff always.
Thank you, and we love you. And so it's been a little while since you've joined us. I know that you've been a part of the Let's Discuss panel conversations in the before, and I've really been looking forward to having you in this series for more of a one-on-one space to explore A Course in Miracles. And you have warmth, you have joy, and your understanding of the Course is uncompromising. Its message is uncompromising. And, we're just so delighted to have you. This is a great fit. So,
I'm
uh,
honored. I'm thrilled. Thank you.
thank you. And I'm also going to mention now, and I know this will unfold more later, but I just have to share, I've heard you speak publicly a few times over the years, and I've read some of your work as well. And I am just so tickled because I notice how many parallels there seem to be between you and I.
Right?
For a couple of them, I'll mention now. And I'm sure the others will reveal themselves later as we talk, but we're both from the Midwest of the United States.
Yes.
So, and we're both Indiana University alumni. Go Hoosiers!
Go Hoosiers. How about that national championship in football?
Yes, yes.
Fabulous.
And hearing some of your story before, like your experience on the spiritual path early on, picking and choosing
Hmm.
from the spiritual buffet, just really
Hmm.
kind of had me tickled. And maybe it's
Hmm.
true for a lot of people on this path. And as they
Hmm.
come to A Course in Miracles, they've listened to this, that, and they still do, But I was just
Yeah.
really tickled at some of the things that I thought, oh, I did that exact same thing. So before we begin, let's open together with a short passage, a prayer from A Course in Miracles, and just feel free to participate in whatever feels most natural to you. I'm going to be reading the prayer passage from chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
and I am here only to be truly helpful. So here it goes. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I
Thank
still
you.
love that.
Yes, I use it often. So, Jackie, you are an author. You've been a long time course student and teacher. I know that you've been a spiritual counselor for many years. You've even been a podcast host. But, I'd love to start simply. I know there's a lot of people who know you, and then there are some who are new to you here. But so could you just share a brief overview of your background, how you came to A Course in Miracles, and a little bit about where you think you are today with the Course, how you would describe it in your life today?
Yes. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
I know. We got a
When
lot of
I was
time.
when I was six, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's really interesting. I There was never there was never a time when I can say it in these words now, right? There was never a time looking back where I didn't hear an inner voice, almost like a dialogue going on, like, you know, oh, that my aunt is in pain, or my someone, no, 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 no. I've been an intuitive empath all my life.
Mm.
Didn't know that word or at all either. It's easier to put it in terms now. Before it's just something that's going on. So I guess early on, I just always had a curiosity. I didn't know that not everybody had that sense or that awareness, right? Everybody has it. But what I mean is, I was kind of looking at things always without knowing I was looking at things. Anyway, people watching this could understand that experience where you you don't know how to put these things into context until you're older. So I just guess this spiritual path found me because I was constantly in the 90s just reading everything I could get my hands on. I know people have just a similar story, and you're reading and you're wondering and you're putting things together. And I had read everything. I absolutely loved Wayne Dyer. I was reading I could list, 20 spiritual teachers we all know, and I was going through these books, and I found A Course in Miracles in 98 or 99 at a bookstore called Bookstar here in Los Angeles that I used to go to all the time. And I never could quite buy the blue book yet. I would take it down from the self-help spirituality, and it just open it up and then put it back on the shelf. But I'd buy something else, and eventually I settled on a small book by Karen Casey. It was 365 meditations on A Course in Miracles. It just looked pretty. I still have it. It has like a Monet looking type cover or something painting. It's anyway, when I got that less intimidating
Yep.
book,
I got the
and
same book, by the way. I'm just
oh my God,
interjecting the
okay,
exact same time. Yeah, book.
Celina, we
Yeah.
have so many parallels, my friend. I just don't even know if people know we would even get to all of them,
No,
but
we probably
I
won't.
didn't
But
know about that one.
yeah.
Okay, very good. So the ego is thinking this way. Oh, but the Holy Spirit says this. The
Hmm.
ego, the Holy Spirit.
Hmm.
Hadn't quite used those exact terms in the 90s. I have such a psychology background that I was thinking of ego in the world sense, have a healthy ego and things like that. So that really resonated with me so much. I was doing broadcasting out here in Orange County, a show called Around and About Orange County News. I got an offer to move to Tennessee and host a morning show there, and I took that little book with me, and I remember just eating it up. I My news colleague at the time said to me, I don't know what you're like peaceful. Doesn't that bother you that you couldn't go on the air with that? So, like things would come up in the newsroom. She's like, I can't believe we have to. This is in the old days, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
old days meaning of the 90s, like, oh, we have to, why do we have to put that together? Where's the news guy? Anyway, there were just so many things like kind of going on. And she was one of the first people outside of my tribes, like in LA and my high school tribe and my college tribe, to to notice something, really notice something. And I credited it. I said, you know what? I found something that resonates me and really works for me. Course in Miracles. So fast forward, right? When I got back to Los Angeles, um, gosh, I think I had bought the book, but did not take it with me. So when I got back to Los Angeles, I started going through the blue book. Now, my mother had been practicing, right? And she had been talking about these concepts to my sister and I. And I'll fast forward a little bit because of time. My mother went to a course group here in Pacific Palisades. And on that table, one week was, oh, there's a new book. It's in 2003 or four, my mom found it, called The Disappearance of the Universe. And her course group was talking about it. We didn't know, Gary, we didn't know anything. So my mom brought it home and she gave it to me. She goes, this is what you've been saying. This is what you're like, something's wrong with the world. Like, even though I had been doing the course, I wasn't really thinking of the dreamlike nature of it, right? In the 90s. So that solidified that for me. That led me to Ken Wapnick in 2004. And then kind of that part, the rest is history. My mom and my sister and I had been probably all practicing. My mom first, and then my sister and I second, starting in the late 90s. So that's kind of how that started. And then we had no idea Gary would join our family. I mean, that was just something that had,
I was like,
often
wow.
people are like, "Oh, you're doing the course because of it." And I said, "No,
No.
it's interesting. That's an obvious thing to think." I'm like, "But no, we were on this before that." And anyway, so it was really interesting. So then I was off and running with Ken because that just really resonated with me. So I had been practicing, and your question about where has that led me to today, I will say it almost brings me to tears in a good way about I've been called upon in so many ways in this lifetime, and to have the Holy Spirit and this thought system and not to have to do those things as Jackie, but being able to say, in my holiness, there's nothing I cannot do, has been just life changing for me over the years. I've been going through my own journey and growth, my own neuroses, my own, and then I'm caregiving one after another and all these things. And I think because my parents were divorced at such an early age, Celina, I was already kind of doing adult things a lot of people have this story, before you really should have been having to do adult things. That's just by default from having
Yeah.
divorced parents at a young age
Yeah.
and trying to keep people happy. And I just, so the caregiving going forward and everything, I had to work on that, on a lot of resentment of, no wonder I'm tired. I've been caregiving my whole life or whatever.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
some of my forgiveness lessons, because of course I'm gonna care for people when that's called upon.
Yeah.
Those were big forgiveness lessons for me. So coming forward now, after many years, and again, many years, we can get into other things. I I feel like for the last, and you can't really put these things into words. I always do the best I can, but it really is an inner experience. I just feel like probably the last 12 to 15 years, I feel like I'm just living it.
Yeah.
I know I'm dreaming. I have that awareness when we're talking. You're in my dream. I'm here to be truly helpful. I'm So I would say what it's done for me is just the living it, the practical application of it every day
Yeah.
is it just becomes who you are.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And isn't it, I mean, it is quite a practice. You're right. It's like it's hard to find the words. You just
Mm-mm.
keep practicing, living, experiencing it. And
The
I think
experience of
of,
it.
when I was a younger course student, so I think I started just a little bit after you. I learned about it like in my mid 20s, but I didn't really start studying in earnest until I was about 30. And so over the last 20 years, I have really, like, I look back now and I'm like, whoa, I can see the change, certainly how I am now versus 5 versus 10 versus 20 years ago.
Right, right?
And like how, certainly, and I've had a pretty major life-changing events in those 20 years, at least one major one, and other slow burns, forgiveness opportunities I've had to use it for. But it's
For
really
sure.
amazing to see sort of when you look back and see, okay, this is just how I am now compared to how it's hard to put into words, but do you
It
ever
is.
get a sense like that? Like, do you ever look back and say, like, wow, my experience
Yeah.
with life is much different now? Like, I probably would have been
It's
much more bitter and upset and resentful.
well said. That's absolutely true because with not knowing that there's another choice, without not knowing it's your dream, which makes you take accountability for you, right? And not hold on to grievances and judgment as the workbook undoes who we believed we were, who we are. Excuse me. And I was laughing earlier because I was sharing with you that I haven't talked a lot this morning yet because I didn't I didn't have to. So pardon me, everyone. But yeah, it's because you with that less guilt, with remembering who you are, with really connecting to the love in your mind, you can't not experience things differently
Mm.
because there's no effort in the extension of love when you're in the right mind. There's no effort in that. That's an extension of flow, of you being in your natural reflection of your natural state. But with all the ego mind and the conflict, everything is colored by that. You're coloring your world with that choice, just like you're coloring your world, the hologram, with the love, the content of love, right? So many people probably have used the example if you drop a red dye in a petri dish, the whole water turns red. So so it is with our thought system. We
Mm.
color our world if we're in judgment, if we're in the ego, if we're blaming, we're taking everyone with us. And I say everyone lightly, seemingly everyone, because this is our projection. There's nothing out there but your projection. And to your point earlier, it is a lot easier knowing it. Maybe not starting out. Everybody has their own experience. Don't judge your experience of it, but I'll share mine. It's a lot easier knowing that because I also didn't have to take myself so seriously. Not only do I not project onto others, and I always say, okay, I'm not going to use that situation for blame, for guilt. Help me see it another way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I also, that applies to the self. You still believe you are, right? It applies to maybe some people have this experience. Everybody's experience is different. I'm much more critical on the body that I think is me
Yeah.
than on other people. Now, there's no difference in reality. There's no difference in that. It's just that it's very interesting how my husband Mark will say, "You're so, you're pretty, you're hard on yourself," especially in the earlier years, And I was like, "Gosh, I kind of am," and so I had to work with that. But again, coming full circle to your point, it's night and day because I'm free to just be and let the love extend. That is
Mm.
such a great feeling to not have an agenda, to not have to do things a certain way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you said so many key things, and there are things I want to go a little bit deeper on. For people who have been studying, who've been practicing A Course in Miracles for a long time, to hear that this is a dream is not so surprising to people who are coming to this. You might be like, okay, she used the word dream and then she used the word projection. People who may not have a psychological background, even though I think that those terms and those concepts are becoming more common nowadays, especially for people in the spiritual field. But can we like go in a little bit more about like what is this forgiveness thing? This thought you mentioned, thought system of the mind. What it could really look like. You know, before things are peaceful, resolved, what is it? And then, we'll go into more about what it could look like in the world and the love extending through us. But can you talk a little bit about what this means for you?
Sure, sure. Well, I think one way to kind of help with that, reminders for seasoned course students and practitioners, but also for people who are new that always find, your platform and these platforms. Um, the reason why in my first book I used the analogy of the Wizard of Oz is because I thought that would be helpful for this very reason. Back in 2007 or 8, I had that thought as I was watching it. I know I'm not the first person to have that thought, but I said, "Oh, I'm going to use that in my book." Well, 10 years later, I finally wrote the book. But I use that because it speaks to what the course is teaching us, is that we have seemingly fallen asleep and are dreaming this dream of separation from our Creator, from Source, from God. The Course is using the Christian terminology, right? You don't have to. You could say your Buddha nature or whatever you want to say. But we are really home in heaven, the Course teaches, but we
Mm.
seem to have fallen asleep, right? So into what always is, what just is, there's nothing else. There seemed to be a tiny mad idea that crept in that we could be something separate, right? So the practice of the course helps this question of how we seem to get here disappear. But for the purposes of this, so the course is teaching that we have fallen asleep and we're dreaming this dream of separation. And it's giving us a pathway to wake up. Now, when Dorothy is in Oz, she really believes she's there and she believes she needs to get home. And she's meeting all these friends along the way, right? And she's trying to get to something outside herself. She's trying to get to Oz. He's going to do it. The wizard is going to do it. Well, she finds out that he's not going to do it. And Glinda, the good witch of the north, says, "You've had the power all along to go home. It's the power's with you." The scarecrow says, "Well, why didn't you tell her?" And Glinda says, "Because she wouldn't have believed me."
Mm.
She had to figure it out for herself. So what A Course in Miracles is really teaching us to do, it's talking to us as mind, is it's waking us up from our belief that there is a world outside of us, that we could be separate. So it's a very unique spirituality in the sense that the focus isn't about behavior or anything in the world. The focus is waking you up from your dream that there is a world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought that that was such a helpful way to look at that. So for people that are new, the Course teaches a radical form of forgiveness. It's radical because it's so different from the world's form of forgiveness, which is that someone's actually done something, your bodies, and you're forgiving them. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that, and anybody choosing forgiveness over holding a grudge is moving in the right direction. It's just that the Course is taking that much further in a deeper sense, saying, because this is your dream and you made it up, you're actually forgiving people because they haven't really done anything. This is your projection, right? So we are forgiving people for what they haven't done. And we are also forgiving ourselves for dreaming, for believing that we attacked God and we can even be separate at all from oneness, capital L, love, unity, right? So it's a radical form of forgiveness, but where do we start, Celina? In the world where we believe we are. And that's why the workbook and 1,300 pages of how to undo this belief. Everybody be gentle with yourselves. It is a process. People are in different ways. And if it finds you, it finds you. If it doesn't find you and something else finds you, do what follow what finds you, what makes you feel more loving, more compassionate, more forgiving, right? Able to let go and take responsibility. That's just on the level of form, taking accountability, taking responsibility. Again, we can talk about, the course pulls that way back, and you're asking about projection, right? Well, the course is saying if since we're dreaming, you know, this is our projection. So if everybody would close their eyes, right now, and think of somebody that they need to forgive or someone that has held a grievance. The first person that pops in or situation is the one. Everybody has something, right? Now just open your eyes really quick before the exercise. You just conjured that up. This is what we're doing all the time.
Hey.
We're making things up in our mind. We just did it. And we need to do it because the Course in Miracles is saying this is how you start to recognize you're dreaming. But sometimes I will kind of just use that example because I'm like, you're doing it right. You're making the people up. You're saying, oh yeah, I'm thinking of, or the situation, something. That's what we're doing all the time. So Course in Miracles is trying to get us back to who we really are, the home we've never left, heaven, perfect oneness, right? But because the belief is so strong, the ego mind, the separated state is so strong. Course in Miracles is brilliant at using what we've made, flipping the script and bringing us home. And so the steps of forgiveness, we're starting where we are. Oh my gosh, my mother, the world at large, some things that I have to forgive. Oh God, that's showing you the contents of your mind. You're in the ego thought system. You're believing this is real. You're forgetting it, that you're dreaming. It's okay. We take that situation. We're aware. We pause. We allow feelings. Watch without judgment. Remember, but I also forgive myself for dreaming this because this secret dream in the mind still has me going. Even if I say, oh, there's no world, there's still the secret dream in the mind that believes it's separate. And so you forgive yourself for dreaming. You say, oh my gosh, Holy Spirit, I'll let you replace your awareness or your thought system with mine. Right?
Talk about flipping the script, because what you just explained, I mean, it's a framework that is just completely upside down from how we walk
Right?
through this
Yes.
this experience of space and time. Okay.
Yes.
And I love what we're already home in heaven. um
We forgot.
yes. And as which also would mean, in the intro of the course, uh, A Course in Miracles says love is something that cannot be taught. All right. And as we're recording this, we're doing this early in the year. It's actually February, and it's a time of year where love is also often sentimentalized and
Yes.
commercialized. And it
Yes.
can be a very
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, and it can be, a really lovely experience. But how it's also a current time, like in our, we won't get political, but it's like this current global landscape of where we find ourselves, where it seems like things are going faster. They're, things are harder. It's what I'm hearing from a lot of spiritual students at this time. It's like, how so everything that we're talking about, and you've said some key things, and maybe it's just reiterating what you said, but how can forgiveness really be present in this time of discomfort, emotion? There's disappointment. There's this feeling for some that it feels very surreal when I look out onto the world. So just maybe one or two key elements of what you said again. Like how can it even be present there?
Right. Well, you bring up a really excellent point, Celina, and the course is very big on this. Repetition is absolutely necessary. for learning. And we have to hear things, of course, over and over again. This is a huge book. But Jesus, the voice of the Course, is saying the same thing over and over again. So repetition is always necessary. One of the things that is helpful and happens with most people when they're practicing A Course in Miracles is you come to the point where you realize an illusion is an illusion is an illusion. The ego mind is still separating things out. The world is real, it's speeding up. Look at the chaos, look at this, look at that, right? And the question is, yeah, but they're suffering, there's right?
Yeah.
The key is to feel your feelings about something. Recognize that whatever it is on your screen, you are watching this movie. When you're watching with the ego, you're sucked in. Don't judge yourself. Don't be spiritually bypass that you should be further along. Or don't do any of that. Just recognize that the Course is teaching you how to perceive differently. The ego has you perceive this is real. There's chaos in the world. The Holy Spirit is reminding you, oh, wait a minute, right? Remember the world's in your mind. But that's why it's a process because we are so sucked in. Our belief in our individuality is so strong that it's a lot. And so when things are going on in the world, right, it's important to, when you're in the phase, everybody's in a different stage with this, right? We could do a whole week on these things. We're condensing it down. Wherever you are, if you can watch and pause without judgment and just notice, oh my gosh, now this is bothering me. On the news, on TV, you were mentioning, global events. Oh, but that's not bothering me. But this is bothering me in my own family. This is bothering me at work. This is when all these life scripts, which you mentioned, when we believed the tiny mad idea of separation, right? We felt so guilty that we thought we attacked God and wanted to do better and be separate from heaven. We felt such guilt in the mind that we projected that guilt out. And here we are with a world, an out picturing of an inner condition of sin, guilt, and fear. That's the ego script. So what do we see? Sin, guilt, and fear played out. But there's great things in the script. Yep, because that's duality, and you're going to have both. So when there's, again, as a starting point, we can get into heavy metaphysics, but people have to start, like you said, people are new. Remember to question your seeing, your perceiving. What the body's eyes are showing you is not true because this is a projection. You're not going to go into a dream you had last night and try to find the people in the dream and correct it. Why? You can't do it. Why? Because your mind made it up. You woke up. You're dreaming. You can't go back, right? So this is how we want to learn to see those things. But children are hurting, or like whatever it is, right? This is why, again, this is the radical nature of A Course in Miracles. And this is what I believe happens if the path is meant for you and you stick with it. The more you're in the right-minded perception, the more you recognize that it's your dream. So simultaneously, which is my big word all these years, simultaneously, as you're looking at your screen, there's a part of you that remembers more and more, but there is another way of looking at this. You'll go through the phase, it's uncaring, right? Go through that. Again, we could do a whole thing on that. Honor your feelings. It seems uncaring. Honor your feelings, right? Don't judge yourself. I'm noticing it feels uncaring. This is so weird. Oh my God. but I can look at it another way. Okay. Then sometimes people go through the phase, okay, now I don't feel guilty because my mind's starting to turn, but now I feel guilty for not feeling guilty. So now I have this whole thing where I feel good for it. Just giving an example of possible phases
Yeah.
that people go through, right? I
Yeah.
went through that. You feel guilty for not feeling guilty.
Guilty. Yeah.
You stay with it. And the lessons do it. I don't do it. Teachers don't do it. Students don't do it. Your practice does it. This is a system done between you and your source, the Holy Spirit, Jesus. That does it because you start waking up from your dream. And then, Celina, you have the experience here, and it's not a well, it's not real, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's not a that type of thing. You have the experience, just like when you woke up this morning and I haven't thought about, I had a dream last night. I'm not trying to go back in there, right? It doesn't occur to you. You might think of your dream and go, oh my God, I had this dream. And then I may tell Mark, but I don't walk around figuring out how I'm going to go back and fix that. Again,
Yeah.
this is an experience. It's hard to put into words,
It is.
but that's how you start to be. And then, one of my favorite words in the course, you really can shift your purpose for the world. So it's not that it's not like it's meaningless and people don't have hope. And I've done many podcasts on that, and we could do that. Trying to shorten everything here to give an overview. If you, the more you're in your right mind, the Holy Spirit mind, doing the forgiveness, that just does the healing. What does forgiveness do? It's still, it's quiet. It does nothing. There's nothing to do in a projection. That's why you watch. You watch
Mm.
when you can without judgment. Everything is as it is. I don't like it because it's separation, sin, guilt, and fear. Spread it. That you're, but if you switch and the Holy Spirit is reminding you of the atonement, which is nothing's happened, the separation hasn't occurred, and you start waking up to that, you start living in that awareness
Yeah.
more and more. It just starts to
Yeah.
become who you are. So your practice will do it.
Yeah.
And then you really start living it, and you'll be able to just let the love flow through. There's no effort in that.
Okay.
Only
All
effort
right.
with the ego mind. Yeah.
You said so many awesome things there. Okay, let me
Okay.
go back. So we're gonna go into a couple of these things more
Okay.
deeply.
Hmm.
Repetition is necessary.
I,
We have that.
absolutely.
Illusion is
Absolutely.
illusion is illusion. It's
Absolutely.
like
It's
this
all the
idea of
same.
the dream. Yeah, and
Mhm.
I often laugh. I'm like, this seeming space I am. This dream is a pretty long one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I have a lot of practice in perceiving differently, but you
Right. I'm
use.
experiencing this as a long, sometimes a drag out, yeah, mess for sure.
but you said some things that gave me goosebumps. This thought system is this discipline of doing the lessons really teaches. You can question, what you're seeing. You can question. That gave me goosebumps. But I want to go because and then you go on to say, this is a process of looking to see it differently. It's almost like a process of overlooking it, but doing it with the Holy Spirit. So it's always engaging the right teacher, right? So,
Right.
so something I want to bring up here is, and I know that you have brought this up to me before when we talked, and I want to make sure that we touch on this. Students learning this course, hearing the course, this temptation of thinking they're supposed to deny the body and its issues.
Mm, that's a big one.
Yeah, can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, another class, only because there's always it could be because there's just so many questions about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, fantastic.
yeah.
In my many years as a therapist, spiritual counselor and just mentor, it's one of the things I get asked about most. And people that have heard me say that because, and I borrow this from Ken Wapnick, which I heard, I don't even know, over 25 years ago, more 25 years ago, which is to be normal. He started talking about being normal, right? And sometimes it's hard to know what that means. Well, what do you mean? I don't feel normal or I don't, right? But what that is, and it speaks to this, your point, this question exactly, which is it's very hard for people to integrate. It's very hard. This is what has been reflected back to me many, many, many times. And I've worked on it a lot myself, especially in the early years. It's hard to integrate. What do I do here with the body? And you're telling me I'm not the body and I'm not. And there's something weird that happens. And the ego mind just has sometimes people thinking that they're not going to take care of the body or the body doesn't require this or the main thing is, Celina, I should be further. I shouldn't be sick. I shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
So here's what I would offer on that, right? Since these life scripts are written because it's your projection and the course is teaching that the world was over long ago, so our conversation is happening in a dream and is over and it can't happen any other way. How are we going to experience this conversation with the ego or with the Holy Spirit, right? So being normal would you're not going to study A Course in Miracles and not drink water or not eat food or not be an accountant or not be a stay-at-home mom or dad or not be a therapist or whatever people are doing. It doesn't matter, right? But somehow something creeps in and the ego loves this because then it makes you think that you're not making progress or there's others out there that seem to be doing this. Spiritual teachers or people will annoy you or they'll be not everyone's for everyone, be like, well, now that person is now this person. Oh, it gets, oh my gosh, it's got
Yeah,
this
yeah,
ego. There's no
yeah,
people, guys,
yeah.
meaning, but here's the thing. If you're, I still take aspirin,
Hmm.
right? I don't always have to take it. But I know simultaneously, here's my big word, I walk into the kitchen, I'm busy doing things, I'm taking the aspirin, I'm looking at the aspirin, and it's hilarious that I put my belief in this. Down the hatch,
Yeah,
drink
yeah.
the water, and it works. I know simultaneously that it's not the pill,
Mm,
it's the belief. Everything's a placebo effect. The world's a placebo effect. There's nothing
hmm.
there. But because our belief is so strong in it, we have to use the symbols we've made. So, a loving thing to do, which often when someone starts these thought systems, the personal self that they believe they are starts to be transformed, and you're experiencing yourself as being more loving to yourself. It's not loving to not take a medication or something that helps you feel better in the dream. It's not loving. Yeah, but sickness in the mind. That's right. So here's where simultaneously comes. This is where you don't judge yourself. You watch yourself take, and I'm just giving examples for the purposes of this because it's a short conversation. You just remember to say to yourself, that's so funny. I'm still so afraid of love, the power of my mind, that I'm putting the belief in the pill, the cancer treatment, the this, the that. Who wouldn't do a treatment? If they have cancer, that's a normal thing to do. The only question the course would have you try to ask yourself is who am I doing it with? Who is in my mind? Is the ego in my mind as I'm going through this treatment, or is the Holy Spirit? Right?
Hmm.
A Course in Miracles, I think the reason it's often confusing and hard at the beginning or throughout is just because it's not about behavior. It's not judging you for anything you're doing in the world because it's not there. It's in your mind. The healing is always in the mind of the dreamer. But that's not how we experience it first, which is why Jesus in lesson 23, I think it is, I can give up the world. I can escape the world by giving up attack thoughts. Well, when there's no attack on yourself, there's no projection. You're recalling the projection, one forgiveness lesson at a time, going, I'm not going to judge this person. I'm really judging myself. There's just one mind that believes it's here. Why would I judge myself for having this sickness? I know the mind is sick when it believes in the ego. And now I'm watching a script projected out where the body I seem to think I am has this sickness. You're not a failing person. You're not a non-spiritual person. A non-spiritual person would tell you you're a non-spiritual person. And don't you know sickness is a defense against the truth? Why are you sick?
Yeah.
It says nothing about the sick person that's not there and everything about the person that's thinking that. Because to say that, you are in the ego mind believing in separation. Does everyone get that? So it always comes back to you. So full circle about what you were asking is just to be normal, meaning your Course in Miracles practitioners uh, do live normal lives like everyone else,
Yeah.
but start to look at their lives through a different lens.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, you start waking up from this dream. You start becoming more loving, more compassionate. I'm getting to your point about the love.
Mm-hmm.
We can't experience here the love the Course is teaching us that our Father has for us in heaven. These are terms, God has for us in heaven, because that's not our experience here. A reflection of that love that we took into the dream with us is what A Course in Miracles calls the Holy Spirit, the part of our mind that's reminding us we're loved, cared for, dreaming. I'm a thought away. We're not our thoughts. We're not here, but we believe that for the moment. So we're shifting our thought and our awareness to, wait a minute, the Holy Spirit is saying this to me, right? And so we slowly start to wake up as we're doing everything else we're doing. We're not going to, oh, the body's not real, so I'm not going to drink this water. Well, you're not going to feel very good if you just never drink water. And right? So here's the thing I think that's so difficult.
Yeah.
In the dream, Celina, there are so many people. People are sun gazers and they only get energy for the sun. Okay, so they don't have to eat or, people are going to say, but people don't. Number one, every scenario is scripted out.
Yeah.
You are watching a projection where this person is seemingly doing this, that person seemingly doing it. It doesn't change the fact that this is your dream, and what are you using that for? Are you using it to believe there are people and it takes you away from your forgiveness work and taking accountability for your judgment? Are you saying, oh my God, it's so interesting. I would absolutely love to not have to get up and overeat when I'm feeling emotionally depressed. That would be wonderful. And you're kind of just laughing about, you're just like, oh my God, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
This is just an example of how you're looking at it, right? Mm-hmm. Simultaneously, you know that it isn't real, but that doesn't mean you don't have preferences in the dream, or you wouldn't say something normal like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get those lbs, these pounds off, or I can't wait to do this. Well, a loving thing to do would maybe you do an exercise class, or maybe you
yeah, that might be the most loving thing to do.
Right. See, so you're just and let me maybe offer this too.
Yeah.
When you're in the Holy Spirit mind, you don't have to decide any of that. Honestly, you get to the place where the love just takes form. For person A, you're doing this. Person B, situation C. I used to talk about a lot about this in my practice too, because what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? The very first thing you do is pull back your projection and remember you're dreaming, or remember, oh my God, if you can't go there, just there is another way to see this. Whatever works, especially at the beginning. It does become a part of who you are. You may not be consciously choosing something in every moment, just becomes who you are. If you are in the ego mind and feel yourself judging and you stop, That and watch, that is the choice for the Holy Spirit. You being in the ego mind and not judging and remembering to stop is the choice. May not always be an active choice like, oh my God, I got to choose now because I feel bad. Sometimes you're doing that, but
Yeah.
remember that it's scripted out that you're doing that. It's scripted out everything that the world was over long ago. That's why that concept metaphysically is challenging. But if you just keep that in your mind, especially the new students and seasoned students, but I know what you were saying before that it's challenging. But guess what? It won't be. It won't be because you just are slowly remembering one piece, one forgiveness lesson at a time, recalling the fragments back into the whole.
Mm-hmm.
And the more whole you're becoming, you're remembering your true nature. It's easier to lead with love, less grievances, less, oh my God, that used to really bother me. It doesn't. Oh my God, I never would have gotten over that. Just, oh my God, I felt in competition with that. No more. Oh my God, I felt like I could never handle that. Doesn't happen anymore. But you're doing it. Have the faith and the trust. That's how powerful your mind really is,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Wow. It is a powerful mind. I had this memory of reading about a spiritual practitioner in India. It was modern times.
Yeah.
And you might have seen this on the internet, but he was in a lab for several weeks because his claim was, oh, I haven't eaten or drank any water for 76 years or something like that. I don't remember the
Right.
exact. So, it just
Right.
made me think like,
I kind
wow,
of remember that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, there are lots of things like that. And then there are people who are like, I don't want to do that. But, that's not really the point of this. You made some really great key statements for us to remember. And it is like pull back the projection and remember you are dreaming. Ego stories are really, I mean, this is a pretty intricate script.
Drama, stories. We
Yeah,
have to put a
even,
story on everything. That's
yeah,
what the mind has to do to
yeah.
keep you sucked in. Story. Drop it. Right?
Story.
Yes.
I even like, I think it is in chapter 9 of A Course in Miracles. I have to pull it up to make sure, but it was the ego ranges from suspicious to vicious,
Isn't
and
that something?
it really is
About covers
something.
it.
Yes.
The
So,
range. Yeah.
yeah. So, taking, into account these ego stories, and maybe you've already said this, and it's just a time to reinforce something you've said. Like, how do you tell the difference between, like, that insight that clarifies who you really are versus what reinforces the identity and ego story? Like, what is it's just that continuing remembering, pull back from the projection and remember you're dreaming? Is that the difference there from the insight, that clarifies? Am I asking this
Yep.
clearly enough?
Yep.
Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying because these are outstanding questions and everybody asks them. And how do I tell the difference, right? Now, I can sit up here as someone and say, I want to reiterate this is a self-study, uh, spirituality,
Yeah.
and you have your inner guide, right? What I hope to do is point to things for people. I know that I'm in the Holy Spirit mind when I have complete trust. There's no doubt. There's no agenda. I'm watching. I'm not trying to get anything. I'm not trying to do anything. It's very, very different. And you will know the difference. Just keep practicing because the ego, everything when you're in the ego mind has to do with the body, the dream, and you're invested in changing something, resisting something. You're not accepting things as they are. That's it. There's always something that has to be changed, moved, da 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 da, dealt with,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
bear with me.
Yeah.
So we do want to deal with our problems here. We want to change our mind first. Whenever we need help with anything, we could remember 79, lesson 79 and 80 if we want. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. And
Yeah.
then let me recognize my problems have been solved. All right, that's a metaphysics. But let's start with where we are. I
Yeah.
have a problem. I need to uh, uh, make a decision for my kids. I have a problem. I need to pay this. Am I going to be able to afford that? I have a problem with my family that I have okay. So you're knowing that, and we want to help that inform,
Mm-hmm.
right? So since the script is written, we can experience that in one of two ways. We can experience, oh my God, I got to do this and I'm in the ego mind, or once we've given it over and truly have, oh, maybe I'm going to research that on the internet. I heard something about that treatment. I wonder if sound healing would help them. Boom,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Again, these are just examples from my own life and things that hopefully are helpful. I think everybody has the capacity to know, Celina, when you feel relaxed about something, there's no worry. The chaos you're observing in the world, in your family, or whatever, doesn't change always. You change. I'm going to give blood on the corner. Oh, that's right. I forgot that that was there now. The pharmacy has that thing. I'll give blood for that. I saw that on TV. Oh, oh my gosh. You know what? That treatment. Remember my friend in San Diego? Okay, let me give that to her. It's very in the moment
Yeah.
when you're at it. It's again, inner experience. I always invite everybody to be gentle with themselves, be kind. Nobody's
Yes.
ahead or behind. Don't, yes, in the world. I
Yeah.
would just remind everyone not to go by the time space world to get any real, I mean, your true guidance, because there's going to be comparisons and things like that.
Yes.
You can be helped by things in the world. You can manifest like crazy if you want. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, simultaneously, if you recognize that you're doing it in a pre-programmed dream script and you're not attached to outcomes, meaning my salvation is in this. If this doesn't happen, right, that dictates my mood and whatever, you know you're in the
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah.
If you're able to just extend love, and Jesus says a wonderful thing that people are like, what? The body is outside yourself and not your concern.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible to have that awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have the awareness of dreaming, which is what the Course says is one of the functions of the miracle worker, because then you are free. The content of love in your mind, we got love, we got fear, we got sin, guilt, and fear, we got the love. Remember, that content of love will direct your functioning. And I say this over and over again, like, because for person A, you're inspired to give them a hug. For person B, you're giving tough love. For person C, you remember that, well, I thought something about financial with them would help them. God, I know this financial advisor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Person
Yeah.
D, you're sitting there not saying anything. The point is, I love this quote from the Course. Okay, and
Yeah.
I'll butcher it.
That's all right.
The miracle, in order to achieve its full efficacy, the miracle to achieve its full effectiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
The miracle, which is that shift where you're saying, I'm not going to hold a grievance. I'm not going to be in sin, guilt, and fear. You might start by saying, I'm not a bad person. They're not bad people, right? That shift to remembering, God, there's another way to see. Oh my gosh, I could call on Christ's vision. I'm not ready to do it yet, but I know it's there. Okay. Like whatever it is, right? That shift, the miracle, in
Oh.
order to achieve its full efficacy, is sometimes given in the best way that the person or situation can receive it.
Yeah.
It's not the level of communication that they can, I'm butchering it, but it's
No.
not the level, the highest level of communication that they're capable of.
Yeah.
It's just that it's how they can hear you now. And wouldn't you want to be nice to yourself? They're just split off fragments of your mind in fear, just like the body you call yourself is. None of it's true. None of it's you or them.
Mm-hmm.
This is, again, we're using the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want to be kind to the split off parts of yourself? Well, the ego doesn't, because that's not me, that's them. Thank God I'm over here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not, for number one. That's a hard concept, but then it doesn't. Then it's not hard. Then it gets easier and easier because you look with the Holy Spirit in your mind and have to be willing to look at it another way and not judge. Just watch. There's nothing to do. The mind, I think my good friend Bruce Rawls, who you know well
Yes,
too,
yes, yes.
somebody about ticker tape, and it's just this. I mean, the mind is just, it's not you. None of that is you, right? A Course in Miracles is talking to you as mind. We don't start out that way. Start out as talking as the body.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, we need that. It's talking to you as mind, but eventually the mind that seems to be split is going to choose against itself. And
Yeah.
you're just going to be back in, these are steps though. So it's good to not be too far when you can from the metaphysics,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so important. The practical application is being where you are, not judging
Mm-hmm.
yourself, feeling your feelings. Your feelings are pointing to your state of mind. They're pointing to where you are. You have to
Yeah.
honor that. It's making it real. Not when you're looking with the Holy Spirit. What's making it real is denying and being in resistance to what you feel. Then you're in the ego because you're not allowing things to just be as they are.
Yeah.
That's how tricky the ego is,
Wow.
right?
You said so many great things there, and just I looked it up on our ACIM web edition because I just wanted to read. You got the quote down. I'm
The
just going to
quote I
read it for
butchered,
viewers.
yeah.
No, you didn't really butcher it, but let me read it. This means it's from chapter 2, by the way,
Oh,
section
good.
4,
Okay, that's right.
paragraph 5. And it says this means that a miracle, to attain its full efficacy, must be expressed in a language that the recipient can understand
Without fear.
fear.
Very important
Ooh,
part I missed. Yes, go ahead.
No, I mean, you said
That's
so.
a key point. I know.
Such a key point. And you were saying, it's like in the moment. It's like be
Yeah.
where you are. I mean, everything that you've described too, what keeps coming to me as we practice this, it's like our awareness, I think, just naturally increases for this,
Absolutely.
as we're paying more attention to this, like our awareness is there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well said.
it
Yep.
made me think too, like for example, when you were saying be kind to yourself, be gentle, does the ego want that? No. But there's been many a times too, I can remember, even though I am been practicing this course and it's my primary spiritual discipline, there have been times that I have been inspired to work with certain practitioners, whether they're medical doctors or even energetic
Absolutely.
practitioners that have really helped me in a way that I'm like, well, that was wild, you know, you know.
100%. I'm
Yeah,
so glad
yeah,
you said that. Be
yeah.
normal. Yeah.
Be normal, be
Yeah.
normal. So inspiration can come like that
Oh,
for sure.
see, the doctors, I have a wonderful psychic medium that I see. It's so fun to see her reflect back. We laugh about it, you
Yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah.
She's like, "Yeah, it's your mind." I said, "I know. I need to hear it from you." You know, especially when I was going through this stuff with my mom. I had so much resentment come
And
up.
I want, it's a natural pivot point if we could segue
Oh,
into
sure.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and not maybe some of the viewers know, not many, certainly not about me, but we have both been caregivers to our mothers. If I,
Yes.
and, talked to Jackie beforehand, she was fine with talking about this. We have, our mothers actually have been diagnosed with the same type of dementia.
Yes.
And so, if we could like go into that a little bit more. I know that your mom had lived in your house for about 6 years, as I recall
Yeah.
you saying.
About a
And
little over about 6.5 years,
six and a
almost.
half
Yeah.
years. Well, okay. My mom
Yeah.
is now we're completing year 2.
Year 2 for you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it has been one of the most challenging things I've
Right?
experienced. Yeah, it's
Me
interesting.
too.
Is it? Okay, okay. I'm sure there's a lot we could say. I know the Course speaks about forgetting in a way that isn't about suppression or denial. And so we can talk about it like that, but I also would like to talk about it in terms of what we're experiencing with our mom. Like I heard you say, and I think this was a few months ago in a video you did for our 50th anniversary about your mom and saying,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't really remember. And you're like, Mom, that's great. You
Good
know,
for you,
yeah,
Mom.
I
Good
can't
for you.
tell
We
the story.
joked.
I didn't say it right, but I
No,
know the
you did.
sentiment. Yeah, yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for reminding me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we joked about, my mom has been practicing the course for I
Hmm.
don't even know how many years now. I can't keep track, but mid 90s, whatever that is. And beginning to mid 90s. Yeah, she would joke with me. We would be sitting and she would say, I just can't remember anything. And I'm like, good for you, Mom. And she would just laugh because, she would know. And it was so hard for me, Celina, because I had so much resentment I had to go through because I
Mm.
thought, oh my God, Mark and I were embarking on this really interesting part in our lives. And here I was again caretaking, moving somebody in, right? I was
Yeah.
making this a
Yeah.
big deal at first. I wouldn't have done it any other way, right? But I did have to work on this. Oh my gosh, if she would have done this, she wouldn't have done that. Why didn't she do this? And I kept having to, I say at this late stage, not because it's late, but I had been practicing. I want to tell people, for many, many, many years, and something can just hit you. And there's more unconscious guilt that has to come up. And mine was just like, with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And I was mad. I looked at like my aunts, her sisters and other people. I'm like, gosh, they're living on their own. A couple of them have had spouses that have passed, but and Celina, I mean, I have to tell you,
Hmm.
my mind, I felt really mean about it. And then
Oh
I
yeah.
felt guilty.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the gift we were
Oh
talking about
please.
at the
Please.
beginning of A Course in Miracles. I'm sorry, at the beginning of this this chat. I was able every time to bring it back so quickly to remembering. I let myself have the resentment. And I know maybe some people wouldn't have resentment, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. And I'm grateful that Mark and I did it. And Mark and I mean, I have a husband that's like, yep, we're moving your mom in, and all this stuff. COVID was going on. We didn't want to put her somewhere where we're like, we don't know how. This is a big city. We live in our small pocket,
Yeah.
right? Beverly Hills area, but the Los Angeles is a big city, and we didn't want to put her somewhere and do these things. So again, it could be a whole nother thing. And so it was a no-brainer for us. I want to say that. But that didn't mean that all this stuff didn't come up from my childhood about my mom crying on the couch. I was very, very young, 5 years old, and is everything okay? And I felt like I was already at that age trying to, oh, if I'm
Mm.
good, then my parents won't argue and everything. Well, look what all came flooding back to Jackie when, when
Hmm.
my mother moved in.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, this is interesting. So you were talking about going to psychologists and using training and stuff. That's where a lot of my training came in too, about just in the world, about how I'm looking at this and my resentment, still things that the seeming little Jackie, needed to have healed.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of stuff come up. The difference is it was just much easier to change my mind. It was much easier to smile and go, boy, that's interesting. You would love to put this on your mother right now. How interesting, right? And in my mom in her cogent moments, and I want to ask you about your mom if you
Yeah.
experience this too.
Yeah.
My mom in these cogent moments remembers. She said she was like, I mean, you don't have to, people don't have to have the course. I'm just, my mother happened to
Yes, of
to study
course.
it. That's why I'm sure, but it doesn't matter. People are on their own path.
Sure.
But she would remember. and say, I know the Holy Spirit's always with me. Or she would wake up, she'd sit in this chair I'm looking at right over there and go, ah, I'm smiling with Jay, with Jesus today. I'm smiling with, in those moments, she would remember. And I would just smile and I would know she was a part of my projection. And I would
Yeah.
know it takes longer to say this than what actually occurs. It's pretty quick.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then in my mind, I would know it was my dream. And then Mark would walk in, and I'm like, that's so funny. I am grateful that Mark is in my dream helping me with this. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so what's for lunch? Mom likes this homemade chicken noodle soup. I'm going to go do that. And I would just kind of
Mm-hmm.
come out of it,
Uh-huh.
the resentment, but I had to look at it. It was there. I noticed it. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be, I want her to be like my aunts
Yeah.
right now who
Yeah.
are living alone. Because,
Oh yeah.
and then I thought, oh, I'm trying to dictate her experience. I don't know what anything is for. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm not even here. Celina, we had so many healing moments, my
Did
mom and
you?
I. It was such a blessing. It was
Yeah.
such a blessing. She would mediate between Mark and I. Mark and I are in an argument. She's like, well, now I'm hearing, now you're saying that. Now that's not what he's saying. That's not, we're just like laughing. We're like, okay, now we have my mom like mediating our argument. I mean, I, you would just die. There were just so many blessings like to
Yes.
go
Yeah,
into.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I had all this
Oh my God.
resentment, but I thought, so I know you experience in your own way. Can't you see the
Yeah.
gifts though? And
Oh my gosh.
I mean, so I
Jackie,
wouldn't have done
yeah.
it any other way. I'm being honest about what that brought up for me was a
Yeah.
lot of childhood stuff,
Oh yeah, and same for me. And I'm not even as far along in this as you are, Jackie. But I, for sure, I'm seeing that. It's really interesting how our personal relationships, the ones in our home,
Oh
especially
yeah.
we're on this path and we're aware, boy, can they be good reflections. I heard Gary Zukav yesterday on a video say that the purpose of relationships is not to find someone that completes you, but for that person to reveal you.
Well, he's smart. I think he's right on the money with that. Good for you, Gary Zukov. I remember reading
Yeah,
The
me
Seed
too.
of the
The
Soul
seed of the soul.
years ago.
We probably read it at the same time,
We
Jackie, right?
probably did. You and knowing us. Oh my God.
Right.
I'm going to
But
talk to you off
yeah,
of this too,
for
and be. I know we're
sure.
going to find more stuff, but
For
anyway.
sure. We'll have
So
to
go
follow up the
ahead. So
part two.
you,
But no,
Gary Zukov. Yeah. So that's
absolutely.
right.
But going, a little bit more into my mom with all of this too. The resentment certainly coming to the surface when I didn't think
Okay.
I had any.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I didn't
I,
either. I'd healed so much of that stuff in
oh,
the 90s. Conversations with my dad, my mom, my
me
stepmom,
too.
just more unconscious
Me
guilt
too.
coming up in the form symbolized
Me
in
too.
that, the mother. Yeah.
Yeah, and my mom, when she was in her middle age, so sharp and ready, I honestly didn't think that I would be experiencing it with mom. I thought I would be more likely
Me
experiencing it with my
neither.
dad or knowing his side of the family. And so
How
this was,
interesting.
yeah, it was just new and different. And so my mom, who is not what she knew of A Course in Miracles, knew it was important to me, wasn't really truly a student, but was also a very deep, has been a very deep spiritual student in person for years.
Nice.
Loved Shakti Gawain. I heard you talk about that before. We had that.
Oh,
We had that in our
and
house.
then
I
I
love
love,
that.
oh my God, it was another one of my
All of
90s
that.
beautiful Shakti creative visualization.
Yes.
Shakti Gawain.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
I was tickled again when I heard you say about your mom. It's like I don't remember, and you said, Mom, that's great. Like
Right.
what's similar here is my mom will say, even though she's not a full on course student, she would be like, I don't know what, and she says this every day, I don't know what anything is for. And I'll be like,
Wow, how interesting.
it's all good, Mom. It is
Yeah, it's
all,
all good,
it's
Mom.
all
Always, always say
good.
that. It's
It's
all good,
all
Mom.
good. So, yes, talk about the practice. And I do come back, but there's a lot of frustration that comes up. There's a lot of
Oh,
repetition that's happening
constant.
now.
Yes.
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 And
It's
when
a
I'm like
ton of repetition. Yes.
trying to work, and my you brought this up early on right before we started recording about going with the flow and letting things happen. And I even told my core team, we had a board meeting last week too, and I was explaining to them I've always been someone who's kind of been put together and very organized and I had this list of agenda and and now it's like that goes all out the window. Talk about that being
100%.
100%. So, yeah, it has been a really wonderful experience and not easy. Not
No,
easy.
not easy at all.
No.
Again, to reiterate, I wouldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah.
But oh, yeah, it took me out of doing so much stuff. I really had to be with her almost 24/7 because even though when she was in her good moments, you
Yes.
didn't know when she was
Yeah.
hungry or if she's there, or I have to watch the stove or I have to. That's when we knew we
Exactly.
had to move her into assisted living memory care. It just got so much for Mark and I. And
Did it.
I'm still, after about 5 months, refilling the cup, so to speak, as far as
Yes.
the self-care, going to do my massages and everything just to
Good.
get, my emotions, my everything kind of just cleared out, yes, on the level of the world, right? The loving thing to do. And then I know again we say it so many times, but I'm just aware that I'm watching myself do all these things. But when you're in your right mind, it's again, it's an inner experience. You just do it. You're not judging yourself. Okay, now I'm in the red light therapy booth because that feels helpful to me. I mean, does everyone
Right.
have to do that? No.
Right.
Do people need that? No, I don't know what people need. I'm saying, you
Yeah.
just do what's right for you. Does it? Okay, now Mark got me this massage gift card too, um, which I'm going to use
Whoa. Whoa.
because he loves this massage place, and I'm just going to do it to get my lymph system moving. And anyway, these are just
Yeah.
so I just have been the last few months kind of focusing on that after 6.5 years of really a lot of attention. Now we did get a
Yeah.
caregiver in here
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
end too for a couple times a week, which was so helpful.
Yes.
But then that couldn't even be. We had to move her. So I
Yeah.
don't know where you are with your mom because it's weird. You can be with them. It just requires a lot. But we found that then we couldn't do it. We couldn't. I mean, Mark's
Yeah.
a
That's what.
pilot. He's flying all over
Yes.
I'm so lucky that I had retired. I
Right.
I was doing sessions for 5 years, full on, while she
Yeah.
was here. It was challenging. Um,
Wow.
and that was one of the reasons I kind of had to let go, not because of her. After almost 20 years, I felt like I could be helpful too in other ways. Not that I wouldn't, I'm doing a session tomorrow, no, Wednesday. I'll do a few here and there,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I was doing them with her and I kind of got this ping, Celina, like I always get these pings. Yeah, you're gonna let go of the one-on-one sessions right now. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And so
Yes.
I just did it. I didn't
Yeah.
go, I will let go of one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's just following the flow. Now I'm getting a sandwich. Now I'm letting go of one-on-one sessions. Now I'm buying this at the grocery store. Now I'm an illusion. You're
Yes,
just moving
exactly.
through,
You just
right?
move
You're
through.
just moving through. Yeah,
Yes, and you
yeah.
are gentle and aware, and you just do it in the best way that you can. And
The
like you,
best way you can.
yeah, and you had said like Mark has been tremendously helpful to you. I have a
Oh,
tremendously helpful partner, Joe, who we both work from home, so we seem
ah,
to make it work. But you're right,
easier.
like
Yeah.
I just keep tuning in, and as guidance comes, and I'm like, okay, I got to make this tweak. There might be a change in the future. We've had some caregivers. They haven't always been,
Worked
somewhat
out or
worked out. Yeah, like
right.
they're
It's
where I live. There's
definitely
a
you
lot of
gotta
older people, and they kind of get tired. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
you gotta find the right person
yeah.
or
So
yeah,
it's
sure,
it's been a
absolutely. That's a
practice of going
process.
with the
Yeah.
flow. It has been a practice of going with the flow and just doing the best you can. So that's where we
Yes.
are.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's
Yeah.
amazing that you and Joe are both at home. Now, Mark's can be at home a lot when he's not flying, but and that is helpful. He was so helpful for her. She's like, my hearing aids are. da 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 da. Like,
Yeah.
Mark, she's like, is Mark here? He gets on the iPad and the phone and adjusts the thing and what. I mean, I was just like,
That's, yeah.
she's calling me from assisted living, 3 times a week now. Can Mark come? My hearing
Oh
aids are, we're
my
still trying to
God.
navigate that. I'm like, is that
Yes.
user error or is she really
Yeah.
hearing this noise? And so
Same
I have an
thing. Same
appointment at the
thing.
audiologist. I know you understand all that. It's just kind of a
Same thing.
constant thing. So, but yes, Mark is helpful. That's awesome that Joe is there. And it,
Yeah.
it does make a difference. Yeah, you're tired. It's still a lot. But I was here.
Yeah.
I was here in the home because I left my office years and years and years ago when Skype, yes, Skype, I was using Skype in the early days for my clients and everything. And I thought, you know what? I'm doing all these people around the world counseling sessions. I'm going to do it for people in LA and California too. And I let go of my office
Yeah.
years ago and was able to do things from home. So it was
Yeah.
a blessing to be here and me not going out every day anymore.
Yeah.
So that was helpful. It's
That's
not everybody's situation, follow your
no,
path, but
of
that
course.
was that was helpful.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to bring up to see what you thought about this, because I think this goes along line of being kind and what it means when you're working or caregiving with someone with dementia, that sometimes little white lies are okay.
Oh,
You
yes.
know what I'm talking about? Because there are like, and I've seen this too, people correcting, not here in this house, but maybe just a little bit, like I can't say that I haven't done this, but this idea of telling them this is how it is. And you start to realize that's not really helpful and kind. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, have I, are you going to eat? Are you going to eat? Yes, mom, I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a lot of those same questions where she's still like, very concerned about what the other people are doing. And it's like, okay, let's just tell her something that puts her more
At
at
ease.
ease. Yeah.
100%. And
Yeah.
that's a loving thing
Yeah.
to do. And boy, if I got stories for you, I'll just share one.
Yeah.
She has been an aspirin person her whole life too. She would get migraines, every once in a
Mm.
while, when she was younger, especially that time of the month, if you're female, sometimes you get. So she always liked aspirin. Okay. What
Mm-hmm.
we started noticing,
Oh.
Celina, when she moved in is we kept hearing, because she progressed a little from when we first moved her in, we kept hearing the aspirin bottle shake and everything. And I'm like, and Mark's like, she's taking an awful lot of aspirin. I go, so I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God, this aspirin bottle is good. Again, saying it now, people are like thinking that you should monitor that. It wasn't occurring to us at the time that she was just like taking all these aspirin, but we started so our caregiver, who's amazing, she still goes and visits mom. She doesn't have to, we're not paying her. She's an amazing angel of a human being.
Mm.
She said, have you heard? She goes, give her a placebo. I said, that is so interesting. We couldn't get her to remember. Now, we're not, let me be clear to everybody, we're giving her aspirin and things when she has a headache. We're not depriving her of that. The problem was she would ask 30 minutes later, take it an hour later, an hour later, an hour later. So when she started to get really bad with it, we would give her the placebo. We gave her aspirin for the headache. We would give it to her every 4 hours if she needed it. During those days, she didn't always need it. We gave her the placebo. She took it. I will tell you what, same. The comfort, the belief in the aspirin. So you were saying like white lies and everything. I do want to
Yeah.
be clear. We're not giving her. But the
Yeah.
problem is she
Yeah.
doesn't, she was just taking aspirin. She wouldn't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not, the aspirin isn't working. I'm like, well, you just took it, give it, it's been 10 minutes. Has it been 10 minutes? It's been 10 minutes, Mom. Just give it a little more.
Yeah.
So that's when we started to do that. Now, there was a time when she said the aspirin's not taking it out. I'm like, well, you know what? In an hour, you can take two more. And I gave her two more real aspirin. It was just that when she started to get really bad, we couldn't just keep giving her aspirin every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes. the placebos. So yes, little lies like that to give her comfort. It gave her so much comfort to know that she had that aspirin. I will tell you what.
Excellent. This is good. Yeah, very good. Good to know too. Boy, you and I could talk
There's
a lot
many,
about.
but we
There's
could. Yeah, there's
many.
many
Yes,
stories, but
we
I
will.
just
We
give
will.
you
There'll be
that one.
follow up.
I could talk for hours. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, Jackie, there's so many things to say. But as we, start to come to this place of completion, at least here for now, I definitely want you back. Like, what do you think is most important for course students to know and to remember? Any key things that you would like to make sure that you feel is most important for students to hear today?
The first thing I would say, another great question, is be kind with yourself with your practice. You can try not to judge yourself or your progress. The Course even says sometimes our greatest advances we think are failures. Sometimes our deepest retreats we think are, oh, it's the best, right? We don't really know. Trust yourself, trust your process. You have all the answers. Use the teachers, pull from people. They're coming from your mind anyway, helping you. But just remember that it's always you. You have the answers, and be kind. Honor your process. It's your own. Yeah. Try not to
Mm,
judge yourself. You're so loved. Everybody. I just got a chill. The love is so. I just got a huge chill. The love
oh,
is
good.
so immense, you guys. It's
Yes.
so. There's even no words.
Right. And it's love to remember without efforting.
There's no.
I think
No.
that's really key to say because we
It's
are
just what you
living
are.
in a world that
Yeah.
seems like, another therapy session, another this, another that, accumulating things makes us
Yes.
feel complete. But this is beyond anything that we could experience in
Yes.
the world.
Treat every moment as new. I know it's a continuation. You do 10 therapy sessions, but you're still going in the now. Use the past in a helpful way, not in the sin, guilt, and fear, dragging it in. I should be better, this or that. I'm
Mm,
going into my therapy session, right?
that's
Oh my
good.
God, that was a breakthrough last week. Okay, this week I'm coming in and this is my thing. Like whatever you're doing, I'm going to the grocery store. Oh my gosh, someone needs change in the line. Here you go. Or be present. Start each moment as new. It really is new. We have to have the past in the world sense of learning something. You have to learn to drive your car and you learn this. And we experience the accumulation. Of course, don't say, oh,
Mm,
I can't use the past. Just remember, if you can come in the present moment, everything you've accumulated will be there. And
mm,
you can just get the gifts, and love just reveals itself to you.
mm.
And you do that, right? You do
Jackie.
that for yourself.
So beautiful, Jackie. Thank
Love
you.
you,
Please,
Celina.
yeah,
Oh.
please tell us, for those who would like to stay in touch with you or learn more about your work, tell us anything you'd like to share.
Well, thanks. I will say the best way to reach me, I'm even going to give this other email, Jackie@Jackie.news.
We'll put everything down in the chat.
Email. My website is JackieLoraJones.com. I'm on Instagram at Jackie Laura Jones. You can DM me there. I'm on Facebook. I have a business page where I post course things, and then I just have my personal page. So they're both there on Facebook, two separate pages. And that's the best way. I don't have an on the air podcast. I've been taking care of mom and doing other things. I
Sure.
had a podcast for years, many, 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 many episodes. Maybe I'll get back to that.
We'll see.
But you can always email me. You can subscribe to my newsletter on my website. That's the best thing. I'm old school. I put a lot of stuff out. I mean, if I'm doing an interview, like I'll put that on there and I'll put this on there and I'll put it on social media as well. So, yeah.
Jackie, you have been such a gem. You are, and just your
Mhm.
understanding
Love
of
you.
the message of the course and how you've helped us all. We just thank you. And thank you so much for being here. And we hope that you'll come
Thank
back.
you. I would love to. And I love you and
Good.
thanks for everything you all do at the foundation.
Thank you.
Lots of
You
love.
too. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.